Okay, I feel like when I revealed this on Instagram and Twitter a couple days ago, it was like trying to explain myself as much as possible in the character limit, but that's what the autofocus channel is for. Just all of my thoughts on cars and everything I want to talk about in the car world. So, this is a video I've been excited to make for a long time. This, this is a 2024 Porsche 911 992 generation Turbo S, and it's my 992 generation 911 Turbo S. Now, the whole idea started as a seed in my head years ago that I wanted an actual sports car. I've really loved driving. That's one of the things I like a lot to do. And for a long time, you guys have known, I've driven Teslas. I think they're amazing cars. A lot of them are what got me into cars a long time ago. And they're phenomenal daily drivers, and they're very fast. They're very powerful. But they're not sports cars. And I wanted an actual sports car. And really this comes down to what I was talking about in that Twitter and Instagram post, which is every time I talk about EVs, I always feel like I end up talking about how there are certain types of cars that make the best electric car. Like a luxury sedan, for example. The best luxury sedan in the world should be ultra quiet, ultra comfortable, ultra smooth, and quick, and it's probably expensive. And that's the perfect candidate to go electric because the electric version will be the quietest, the smoothest, the most comfortable, has all kinds of other benefits traction-wise, and it'll probably be quicker, and yeah, it'll also be expensive. So that's a perfect car to go electric. I still have the Rivian R1T. That to me is an awesome vehicle as well, as someone who doesn't do any towing, and it's great that it's electric. Sports cars, though, are not yet one of those things. We do see huge horsepower numbers, and they're incredibly fast in a straight line, but that always comes with a lot of extra weight. And so, turns out, with actual sports car on the mind, couldn't really be electric yet. So for years, this is like the debate in my head. Like Plaid came out in 2021, incredibly fast, super powerful, and to me that was enough fun in the daily driver to still feel kind of sporty, but still in the back of my head, like I tested the Taycan. There are a bunch of other sports cars you've seen me review on this channel. The whole thing is, yeah, I think there's a little bit more to it. And then I turned 30, and so I kind of had like a incentive to do something fun, I guess. I don't know. Bottom line is, I'd driven a couple of Porsches, and I'd never driven, I'd driven a Taycan and a 911 Carrera T briefly, but never the 911 Turbo S. So I did what anybody shopping for a gigantic purchase would do, and I watched every single review that's ever been made about this car, and I watched and read every blog post ever made about this generation 992 Turbo S, and to be honest, they made me a little nervous because a lot of people are saying things like, this car is kind of just perfect, it might be the best car ever made, it might be too good, it's kind of boring how good it is. And me, as a reviewer, when I hear those things, that actually sets off red flags in my head. Like, wait, what other cars has this person ever driven? What are they comparing it to? How is that possible? But at the end of the day, with enough of that seed being planted many years ago and that growing and growing in my head, eventually I did pull the trigger. I turned 30 and pulled the trigger. And it's here now. A lot of Porsche nerds always ask, they want to know, oh, did you spec the car, or was it a showroom car or something like that? And I did actually go through the thought process of maybe I will actually build a spec on the configurator and then wait a year for it. But right around when I was looking, luckily enough, this one showed up brand new as inventory. It was way up in Boston, and I decided it's exactly how I would have spec'd the car. It's all black, murdered out, pretty heavy on carbon fiber. It had the aero kit, sport exhaust, and everything. So I took a one-way flight up to Boston, picked it up, and the first thing I did was a 200-mile road trip back to the studio. So now I've got a lot of time with it. I've got 1,200 plus miles on this car now. And it's really good. It's really, really good. Here's the thing, though, about this car. This is a sports car. This is, I think, one of the best sports cars ever made. And I'm not the only person to say this. And there are a lot of others that are close to the top of the list. But it's not the best at anything. It's just right up near the top at everything. It's the most versatile, daily drivable sports car on the planet. And you hear that term thrown out a lot, but like, this car is not as fast as the Plaid. It's just not. But this car is also not as fast as a McLaren 765LT or the Ferrari SF90 or 296 GTB. But this car is a 9 out of 10 fast. And this car is not as comfortable as a Bentley or a Rolls Royce or any of the crazy expensive cars like that, but for a sports car, it's like a 9 out of 10. This car is a 9 out of 10 at everything, where you could get a car that's a 10 at something, but then it's like a 6 or a 7 in all the other departments. If you want that incredible speed from Plaid, for example, you do sacrifice a ton of weight and handling. If you want that comfort, you sacrifice speed. If you want the daily drivability, like there's a bunch of things you have to sacrifice, even in reliability, etc., that this car is just a 9 and a 9.5 and a 9.7 at everything. So all that is to say, I feel like this is my new benchmark for gas cars and for sports cars. And I'm going to continue to review a lot of cars that fall in the same category as this. Also, I mean, I can talk you through a few things. First of all, it was a jet black metallic car, but it is covered in stealth PPF, so now it has this satin matte look. But I also feel like, and I'm going to nerd out about my spec for a second here, I feel like I love that it is a contrast between satin black and glossy black. That's the theme for this car. So this two stripe up here, this is really what I think separates my black Turbo S from everyone else's. This was a little custom thing I worked on with APC, and I think it turned out really good. Glossy black, it breaks it up nice, it's sporty, it's aggressive. But then you have the turbo exclusive wheels. These are also powder coated black, and I did also paint the brake calipers. I know that's probably sacrilegious to Porsche lovers who believe they should always be yellow, but I'm a fan. It's a little more stealth that way. It's the only color on the entire car. But again, gloss black, satin black. It has a lot of carbon fiber in this spec here. The mirror caps, even right inside the car, the gloss to the satin, a little bit of carbon fiber, and we'll get in there in a second. The turbo inlets, you've got all this glossy black, and then it's a little messy back here because of all the salt on New Jersey roads. But hey, glossy black down at this diffuser with the sports exhaust at the bottom and the clear taillights. I think it's a pretty sick spec. If you don't know about this car already, this isn't going to be like a full review yet. I've only had 1,200 miles with it, and I think it deserves a little more than that before I'm fully reviewing the car. But I will say there's a couple things to note about it. If you're wondering, it is a rear-engine car, not mid-engine. Slight difference, but that does mean there's a little bit of room behind me, and these seats come down and fold to make a shelf. I can put golf clubs back there, believe it or not. The other thing about this car, though, is the tech is actually not all that great. Now, again, like I said, 9.5 out of 10 on everything. It's not the loudest car in the world. You can get a louder car, but honestly, I actually really like the stealth of the fact that this isn't the loudest car ever. But also the tech, like I said, it's fine. Here's the screen up front, right? This is wireless CarPlay or Android Auto, so it's a big high-res screen. It looks fantastic, and it's even got this carbon fiber little shelf here for you to like move around. And I think a lot of people would say this is fine. This is fine. But the CarPlay or Android Auto never goes to the front screens. There's also an incredibly well-built interior, honestly, probably my favorite in any car. And it's got two USB-C ports down here, but no wireless chargers for your phone. Not a lot of space to put your phone in general, so it stays in my pocket. I also think the 360 camera here, this is pretty good, but the reverse camera, not my favorite. It's got a ton of distortion, and it also gets dirty really easily when you drive on any sort of dirty road. Even little things, this is so nitpicky, but there is no phone key, so you have to carry a fob, which, I mean, some people love this thing, it's all shiny, but I wasn't carrying anything in my left back pocket for years before this. The phone app also kind of doesn't really do much, just shows you history of trips. Can't preheat the car. Also, there was no dash cam. A car like this expensive, I kind of want a dash cam, so I did actually end up having a dash cam installed in the front and the back. It's pretty big, but it's a good one. It's the ThinkWare U3000, and it sits up here where I was hoping this car would have one built in. But honestly, in the sports car world, like I said, you don't really see super high-end tech, which is why I'm reviewing a lot of this stuff, but it's still an 8 or a 9 in that. And the drive, I mean, this isn't the primary focus of most of my car reviews, but the reason that I got this car. It turns out, yeah, the people were right. It drives incredible. It's 9 out of 10 fast. It's 9.5 out of 10 handling. It handles like it's on rails. It's all-wheel drive. It is also on winter tires right now. I put the P0 Winters on it. I can't wait to get the summers on when it's hot because it's chilling around here in Jersey right now. Yeah, the people were right. This car is incredible. So it's my new benchmark for sports car driving performance. Now, the natural questions y'all might have after seeing this are, one, when are you going to review the car? I don't know, probably sometime in the next year. Not exactly sure yet, but I do plan on fully reviewing this car just like every other car I get to test. Two, how long will it stay stock? I don't know. I kind of love it stock right now, but it could be a little bit quicker on the high end. We'll see. Three, isn't there a new 992 refresh coming with potentially a hybrid? I think that's true. I've been reading a lot of those rumors as well, watching the videos. And so we'll see. This might end up being something where in a year or 2 or 3 years, that gets unveiled and it's actually amazing and super different. And then I want to check that out. But I don't know that yet either. And then 4, okay, so you have this and the Rivian. What happens to the Plaid? That's a good question. I don't need 2 daily drivers anymore, so I'm going to sell the Plaid. I'm going to sell it. Well, I'm going to auction it potentially to one of you guys on Cars and Bids. Yes, that Cars and Bids, or I should say this carsandbids.com. Shout out to Doug DeMuro, fellow YouTuber. He founded this site, and I've been watching so many of his videos. He kind of put it right in front of our faces the whole time. So shout out to Cars and Bids for sponsoring this portion of the video, actually. As Doug has always said, it's the ultimate online marketplace for enthusiast cars from 1981 and up. I'd say my Plaid qualifies. And since sellers list for free and the 4.5% buyer's fee is capped at $4,500, I feel like I'm in pretty good hands here. The fun part is I'm not sure if more people will want this car because it's mine or because it was customized a little bit. It's got the stealth PPF over the top. It's got the carbon ceramic brakes from Tesla's Track Pack. It's one of the first Plaids ever, so it's got the original 3D badge. Or if less people will want it because I daily drove it to the tune of like 44,000 miles. I mean, they have a pretty high sales rate of like 85%, and I'm offering at no reserve, so I guess we'll see. We'll find out. Either way, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Probably electric. Peace.